Hello, I'm Clive Barker, the writer and director of Nightbreed. I've always loved monsters. I think there's a corner of all of us that envies their powers, that would love to live forever, or to fly, or to change shape at will. So, when I came to make a movie about monsters, I wanted to create a world we'd feel strangely at home in. I've called it Midian.
After setting the world of horror on fire with Hellraiser, Clive Barker attempted to do the same thing again with his second film, a horror movie where the monsters were actually the good guys. But after having his film chopped to pieces by a studio that didn't understand it, Nightbreed was viewed by both Barker and audiences as a disappointment. So after 35 years, let's see if Nightbreed is worth another look. So if you're Clive Barker and you just directed a horror movie classic based off one of your own stories, what do you do next? You make another movie from one of your own stories, that's what. Based off his novella Cabal, Nightbreed was going to be Barker's biggest and most ambitious movie yet. Not only was the budget significantly bigger than Hellraiser, but Barker envisioned Nightbreed as the start of not only a trilogy of films, but an entire multimedia franchise. In his words, Barker wanted to create the Star Wars of horror films. Nightbreed had a considerable amount of hype behind it, including a Marvel Comics tie-in and not one, but two video game adaptations. However, there were problems even before the film's release. When Barker's original version came in at 2.5 hours, the studio behind the film, Morgan Creek, demanded that nearly an hour be cut. On top of that, the studio misunderstood the film's concept and marketed it as a simple slasher film against Barker's wishes. By the time of its release in 1990, Nightbreed was met with disappointing box office and a lukewarm reception from both critics and fans, which meant that Barker's plans for a trilogy never happened. Over the years, though, the films gained a cult following, and in 2014 there was even a director's cut release that was closer to Barker's original vision. Now for this video, I'm mainly going to concentrate on the theatrical version since that's the one that most people have seen, but I will point out some of the differences. So here is Nightbreed. Jeez, the movie just started and I can already tell this was messed with in post-production. It looks like the editor's having a seizure.
You okay?
Yeah, I had the Cirque du Soleil Rob Zombie video dream again. Our main character is Aaron Boone, played by Craig Sheffer, who tells his girlfriend Lori that he keeps having recurring dreams about a mysterious place filled with monsters called Midian. But you know what's really strange about this movie?
We should get out of Calgary for a few days.
It's set in Calgary. How often do you see that in a major theatrical release? Usually they just film in Vancouver and pretend it's New York or something. Oh, and if you needed more proof this movie's set in Canada, it comes with David Cronenberg jump scares. No, seriously, that's director David Cronenberg, you know, Scanners, The Fly, History of Violence, in a rare acting role playing a masked serial killer. And honestly, he's one of the most memorable things about the movie. He could be either a slasher movie killer or a really creepy Batman villain. Buttonface. Oh, I'm sorry, did I give away that Cronenberg's the killer? Well, don't worry, because even in his civilian guise, he still comes off pretty creepy. Cronenberg is Boone's psychiatrist, Philip Decker, because sure, going to see a guy famous for making mindfuck movies seems like a good way to get your head straight.
Well, when you imagine yourself being taken away to this invented city, to Midian, what sins were you going to be forgiven?
Hey, don't worry about sins, Craig. I forgive you for being in ritual. Decker also says that some murders Boone described in his dreams correlate to some ones in real life. Yeah, nice try, David. We all know that it was you underneath that mask. Of course, that doesn't stop Boone from instantly believing him. I mentioned earlier that Barker was forced to cut a lot out of the theatrical version, and so far it does feel like it. Decker gives Boone some drugs, then he wanders around and is apparently hit by a truck, then he wakes up in the hospital and doesn't seem that hurt. We're only 10 minutes in, and this is already moving pretty fast.
What was I taking? It looks like it could be some kind of lab-quality hallucinogen.
Oh, from Dr. Cronenberg? Get out of here. At the hospital, Boone meets another patient named Narcisse who also knows about Midian.
What do you know about it?
It's where the monsters go. See, they only take you if you're worthy. Know what they do to those that aren't worthy.
Why does he have those? This hospital might want to start checking people's pockets. Narcisse tells Boone that not only is Midian a real place, but he also knows how to get there. It's gotta be really far away though, right?
North of Athabasca.
Or it's in the same province he lives in. Well, it works out great for Boone. He doesn't even need to buy a plane ticket. And if you're wondering how this guy knows so much about Midian...
There's a face beneath this face.
Oh shit, there's a secret race of lizard people living among us. David Icke was right. Well, good luck with that, pal. I'm just gonna go ahead and get the hell out of here. After driving for a while, Boone does find Midian, apparently located inside this weird Tim Burton cemetery. Although, I could just be saying that because of the Danny Elfman music. And again, all this is in northern Alberta. I'm sorry, I can't get over how weird that is. It's like watching a movie where Atlantis is just outside Moose Jaw. And what are you doing, Boone? This is Canada. You should be wearing a denim jacket.
I'm gonna slit your throat.
Turns out Midian really is where the monsters live, as Boone finds out when he sees two of its inhabitants, Dread Lobster and Mac Tonightface.
Are you from Midian?
No. Wow, less than 20 minutes in and we've already got some monsters. So far they don't seem very friendly, but they do tell Boone he's not a serial killer.
I've killed 15 people.
Who told you that?
What do you mean?
He lied, asshole.
I don't know why Boone's so surprised. David Cronenberg's the one who told you about the murders. You should have known he was the one who did them. You know, right about now, I'll bet Boone's really wishing he just hung out with his girlfriend tonight instead. As if running from a cemetery full of monster people wasn't bad enough, the cops are there too. And they brought Decker with them.
I didn't hurt anyone.
Of course you didn't.
Can you believe me?
I believe you.
Well, he seems trustworthy.
He's got a gun!
Okay, here's another sign this movie's a fantasy. The Canadian police are armed like a fucking military. Normally they'd apologize for having to arrest him and ask if he wants some ketchup-flavored potato chips.
Where's the gun?
He reached into his jacket.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was just his hand. Yeah, I make that mistake all the time. And 23 minutes in and the main character's already dead? Damn, this is moving fast. Of course Boone's not dead. Well, not completely anyway. Turns out that Bitey God has some rejuvenating properties and he comes back to life, escapes the morgue and goes back to Midian. Okay, here's my biggest complaint about the theatrical cut. I mentioned the studio forced Barker to cut a bunch out, and so far you can really tell, because the first half hour feels very rushed and disjointed. Other than Boone dreaming about Midian and apparently wanting to go there, we know almost nothing about him. And even though Laurie is supposedly devastated by his death, before this they had exactly one scene together. This is where the director's cut is a big improvement. We get more Boone's relationship with Laurie, more of his tortured mental state. We see what he does for a living. Laurie even gets a musical number.
Johnny, get angry, Johnny, get mad. Give me the biggest letter I ever had.
Hey, come on, Laurie. Canada only has room for one Katie Lang. The point is that in the director's cut, the beginning is much better paced and lets us get to know the characters better, as opposed to the theatrical version, which just seems to want to get to Midian as quickly as possible. Back in the theatrical cut, you know, I don't know what I thought Cronenberg's office would look like, but yeah, this fits. Later he's gonna have company over and they'll play a game of who can make the most fuckable stab wound. Anyway, your boyfriend's dead, so might as well head to the local bar and get back in the game. Maybe the guy in the horn hat back there will take you for a spin. By the way, if anyone's thinking, this is supposed to be Canada? I lived in Alberta for a few years. Lot of cowboy shit there. It's basically Montana with less guns and more ginger beef places. I don't remember the underground monster societies, though.
You hit me again, I'm gonna rip your face off.
Hey, don't threaten him with a good time. Boone gets taken to see the Nightbreed's leader, Lylesburg, played by Pinhead himself, Doug Bradley. Of course, you'd be forgiven for not knowing this is Doug Bradley, since not only is he under a lot of makeup, but in the theatrical version, he's dubbed over by another actor.
You understand what you do joining us here. Tonight, you leave the natural world behind.
You understand what you do joining us here. Tonight,
you leave the natural world behind.
I don't know why they did this. I mean, it's not like Doug Bradley's known for having a bad voice.
We'll tear your soul apart.
Anyway, congratulations, Boone. You're now one of the Nightbreed. Although I gotta ask, how bad was his old life that he'd rather live underneath a cemetery with a bunch of weird monster people?
Why the hell would Boone come out here?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Oh, I see Laurie's also made her way to Midian. You know, for a mystical secret society, this place seems pretty easy to find. She also brought along some woman she met at the bar who agreed to come with her pretty quickly. Oh, well, at least in the director's cut they get one extra scene together. And her new boyfriend followed her there too.
What are you doing here?
Hello, Shelley.
Want to play who can make the most fuckable stab wound? I mentioned that this had a significantly bigger budget than Hellraiser, and it really shows with all the extra animatronics and makeup effects that Barker throws in here. Speaking of which, Laurie doesn't seem to be fazed by any of this. She's so focused on finding Boone that Dreadlocks guy here has to be a creep to get her to leave. Oh, did I say creep? Well, bad news. Turns out Decker couldn't wait to get home before playing most fuckable stab wound.
Laurie?
How do you know my name?
Oh, that's a good question. Here's the answer.
Okay, I'm just gonna say it, a full slasher movie with David Cronenberg as the killer could've worked. Well, Boone, Decker's after your girlfriend. You gonna do something about it or what?
You made an oath to obey the law.
I'm not gonna let him butcher her. I love her.
Dude, you left her to go live in a cemetery with a bunch of weird monster people. You couldn't have been that into her. Funnily enough, lots of people have noted that Midian and its residents could represent a metaphor for the gay community, with director Alejandro Jodorowsky even calling Nightbreed the first truly gay horror film. Okay, I guess now we know Jodorowsky never saw Nightmare on Elm Street 2. The theme is broad enough, though, that the Nightbreed could be a stand-in for any minority or outsider group, although there is definitely some gay stuff in here.
Love those tattoos. Sailors.
Boone goes to rescue Laurie, and good news, not only is he stab-proof in addition to being bulletproof, but now that he's Nightbreed, he can give himself some sweet Maori warrior tattoos at will. Unfortunately, Decker gets away, though.
You've put us all in danger for your love of this woman.
Decker won't tell anyone.
How do you know? Are you just counting on Decker's good nature here? It's explained that the Nightbreed were actually the basis for creatures from folklore like vampires and werewolves, and they were driven underground after being nearly hunted to extinction by humanity.
You call us monsters, but when you dream of flying and changing. You envy us. And what do you envy?
We destroy.
This is actually a pretty neat idea, and I wish it was developed a little further. We also get a flashback scene of the Nightbreed getting persecuted, which is another way for Barker to show off the bigger budget he had to work with here. Also, is it just me, or is this one skull supposed to be Rawhead Rex? Meanwhile, Decker heads to a gas station run by John Agar, of all people. 50s B-movie icon John Agar? You know, Tarantula, the Mole People, the brain from Planet Eris. Nothing? Yeah, well, whatever, I know who he is. Alright, John, let's do a little role-playing. It's Christmas morning, and your skin is gonna be the wrapping paper. Turns out this guy also knows about Midian, including how to kill them.
Bullets for some, and fire for others.
Well, Boone's been shot, stabbed, and out in the sun, so, I don't know, maybe try garlic with him or something? And as for why Decker's so interested in Midian...
I'm not one of them. I'm here to destroy them. I was born to destroy Boone and the breed together.
Okay, this is one of the most unbelievable parts of the movie for me. I can buy a secret underground society of fetishistic monster people, but David Cronenberg not liking him? I don't think so. But I do buy him as a serial killer.
No, I'm death. Plain and simple.
Say it!
Then don't say it.
That's okay, David. I believe your death. Back at Midian, Laurie gets a tour of the place, which lets us see a lot more of it. Damn, this is like Never Neverland crossed with a Tool video.
Isn't this a great place? Shangri-La on dope.
Yeah, that description works too. This is also where Barker really gets to show off the bigger budget he got to work with, since we get to see some of the weird creatures that live there. The makeup and creature effects here were overseen by Bob Keane and his crew at Image Animation, who also worked on Hellraiser, and while the exact numbers vary, they created well over 100 unique characters for this movie. In fact, if I have one complaint, it's that we only get brief glimpses of a lot of them. Take, for example, this guy, who appeared on the cover of Fangoria when the movie came out, but in the actual movie, you barely see him, and that includes the director's cut. Still though, what we do see is pretty awesome. Well, mostly anyway. A few of them do look kinda silly. The director's cut gives us a bit more of this part, including some bits of stop-motion animation. I will say though, the Nightbreed might want to be a little more polite to guests. Oh hey Laurie, sorry I left so abruptly. I meant to call, but you know how it is. Laurie tries to convince Boone to go back with her, although he still says he belongs in Midian, and only goes with her because he gets locked out. Girl, you just gotta accept that he's not that into you. Meanwhile, Decker tells the cops about Midian. Aw, but Boone said he wouldn't tell anyone. How could you betray his trust like that, Decker? Even though lots was cut out, the studio did want lots of Decker left in, and most of the film's advertising even sold it as a slasher movie. Okay, even though that's not what this movie is, I still say a full slasher movie with David Cronenberg's character could have worked.
What's wrong?
Why is it so empty?
Must be the rodeo.
It's called the Calgary Stampede there, bud. You call it a rodeo again, we're gonna have a fucking Donnybrook going here. Bad news, Boone. Not only did Decker kill all of the people in here that would talk like that, but he also framed you for the murders and swatted your ass. I don't know how Boone got taken in so easily. He's bulletproof. But I guess not kick-proof? There's also a priest in the jail named Ashbury who's a very weird addition to the movie. He's introduced really abruptly like he's an important character, but before this he doesn't get any setup even in the director's cut. All of a sudden he's just kinda there. What's he in here for anyway?
He looks like a drunk.
He is a drunk.
What, that's it? Out of all the crimes priests are notorious for, that seems pretty low level. There's also this police captain who at first seems like a reasonable, if kinda hard-ass guy who's trying to figure out what the hell's going on, and then like a scene later, he's a bloodthirsty psycho who immediately believes Decker and also wants to destroy the Nightbreed. And once again, this movie has the most well-armed and jingoistic Canadian police force I've ever seen.
Whether it's commies, freaks, or third world Y chromosome mutants, we are their sons of the free.
Fuck yeah, America, or Canada, I guess. And they're even more cartoonish in the director's cut.
Always count on your friendly garrote.
Okay, does anyone buy that these are supposed to be regular Canadian police? Anyone? It's like setting a movie in England and having all the bobbies look like they're out of a Gears of War game. They even recruit a redneck posse to go to Midian with them, who look like they should be trying to get Michael Myers in Halloween 4. They also take Ashbury with them because, sure. And don't forget Decker.
You better take one of these.
I wouldn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, Decker much prefers guns that fire teeth. Meanwhile, Laurie and some of the Nightbreed go to rescue Boone, and there's two approaches you can try here. One, beat people up, and if that doesn't work, try distracting them with boobs. By the way, according to IMDb, this part is supposed to be an homage to Life Force. I don't know if that's true, but if it is, I can appreciate it.
I do not want to hurt you.
No. The line is supposed to go like this.
Use my body.
Alright, they got Boone out of the slammer, and he's in luck. Not only does Laurie not seem to care that he's now an undead shape-shifting monster, but she actually seems kinda into it. They better hurry up and get back to Midian though. The cops and rednecks just arrived, and it looks like Barker spent a lot of his extra budget on explosives.
Looks like the millennium just ended.
We're now into the big shoot-'em-up action climax of the movie, and I'm wondering how much of this part was mandated by the studio, since it feels a little out of place. It's not that it's bad by any means, it's just that I never really thought of Clive Barker as an action guy. His strong suit is more atmospheric horror, but at least this final battle lets us get more of a look at the citizens of Midian, like this guy with tentacles in his gut. And hey, if you liked the boobs earlier, here's some monster ones. I'm sure somebody watching will be into this. At first I thought Ashbury was brought along since a priest might know of some other ways to kill the Nightbreed, but so far just shooting all of them seems to be working fine.
The children down there. You're killing children!
So is Ashbury supposed to be a corrupt evil priest or a compassionate one? I still don't really know. Shit, what are the Nightbreed gonna do?
We're not warriors. What about the berserkers?
What about the what? Oh, you mean those monsters that harassed Lori earlier? The first time watching, I actually missed when they were called berserkers.
The berserkers are down there.
They'll rip off your head and shit down your neck.
Like a lot of things in the theatrical cut, this is another element that's interesting but feels underdeveloped. Well, at least we get to see him kick some ass here. And speaking of plot elements that come out of nowhere, get ready for this revelation.
That's Boone.
Yes, it's him. All these years waiting for a savior.
That's right, this reveal that Boone is actually Monster Jesus comes in the last 15 minutes of the movie. Ditto for Midian's living god, Baphomet, who looks like a really awesome Final Fantasy boss. Again, both of these elements get a bit more development and foreshadowing in the director's cut. Jeez, Clive Barker was right. The theatrical version really was chopped to pieces. Oh, and Ashbury gets some weird liquid spilled on him that I think is actually Nair. But enough of these other mooks. What we really want to see is the final battle between Boone and Decker. You know, between Decker's appearance in the Danny Elfman soundtrack, this is almost like somebody combined the Christopher Nolan and Tim Burton versions of the Batman movies. Well, Decker may be dead, but he came so hard at the end there. Even with Decker and most of the cops dead, it's too late. Midian's beyond saving.
You must rebuild what you destroyed. You are no longer Boone. You are Cabal.
Yeah, well, they're still gonna rename the movie Nightbreed. And so, with Midian gone, Boone and the surviving Nightbreed set out to find a new home. Perhaps somewhere in Manitoba. Oh, but we're not done yet. Something as trivial as death isn't gonna stop Decker. Hey, if getting resurrected as a zombie was good enough for Jason Voorhees, then I say it's good enough for Decker too. By the way, this ending of Decker being brought back to life isn't in the director's cut. In fact, the ending is where the director's cut diverges most from the theatrical version, which I have mixed feelings about. I wouldn't say the director's cut ending is worse, but I don't know that it's that much better either. The first major change is that Narcisse ends up getting killed by Decker during the assault on Midian.
Decapitation!
So as a result, he's not among the survivors at the end. The next major change is that instead of resurrecting Decker, Ashbury sees the police captain in the ruins of Midian, where he announces his intention of destroying the Nightbreed before killing him. This was obviously meant to set him up as the main villain in the sequel, which might have been effective if he got more development, but in both versions, he's just kinda shoehorned in during the last half hour. His motivation seems to change at the drop of a hat too. One minute he's horrified at the slaughter of the Nightbreed.
You're killing children!
And then, after he gets splashed with some Midian milk and loses his hair, suddenly he makes it his mission to destroy them? I don't know. Even though it was mandated by the studio, I kinda like the ending with Decker better. Yeah, they're both setups to sequels we'll never get to see, but Decker was a much more memorable and well-rounded villain. The last change involves Boone and Lori. Realizing they can never be together if they're in two separate worlds, Laurie kills herself and has Boone bring her back as a Nightbreed. This is the part where the director's cut ending is definitely better, because like a lot of the extra scenes here, it gives us more character development and focus on Boone and Laurie's love story that was sorely lacking in the theatrical cut. As I said at the beginning, Nightbreed opened to lukewarm reviews and was a failure at the box office, and Clive Barker has personally expressed his disappointment at the theatrical cut of the movie. I can see why. The theatrical version often seems like it's going as fast as possible to get to Midian at the expense of character development, and even once it's there, a lot of the intriguing characters and concepts Barker throws in don't seem fully fleshed out. The director's cut fixes a lot of these issues, but it still feels a little incomplete to me. I can appreciate the world building, but it's like Barker's trying to cram in too much for one movie. Now this is a good problem to have, since I'd rather a movie have too many ideas than not enough, but that doesn't make for a completely satisfying viewing experience. If this were made today, I think it would be better off as a streaming miniseries, where Barker could have the time to let his characters and ideas breathe. In fact, a Nightbreed series has been talked about for several years now, but as of 2025 it hasn't happened yet. Don't get me wrong, this movie does have a lot going for it, like some cool ideas and some great makeup effects, so for fans of Barker's work, it is worth a watch, but it's one of those movies that I wish I liked more than I actually do. And now that I've done the movie, maybe I should give the video games a look. Actually, you know what? I think I'll leave those alone. Well, that's all for now. Until next time.
You'll come back now, you hear?